When Italy entered World War II with the world's largest submarine fleet, Mussolini believed his 200 underwater wolves would strangle Allied shipping in the Mediterranean. What he didn't anticipate was America's response, an industrial tsunami that would produce 288 fleet submarines in less than 4 years, fundamentally transforming naval warfare forever. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. September 15th, 1940. Cantieri Navale di Monfalcone, northern Italy. The hammering of rivets echoed across the shipyard as Italian workers assembled the final sections of the submarine Barbarigo. Chief Naval Constructor Giuseppe Marcelli wiped sweat from his brow as he reviewed the construction blueprints spread across his wooden desk. Italy's Regia Marina had commissioned 116 submarines since 1935, with 84 more under construction across 7 major shipyards. No nation in history had ever attempted such an ambitious underwater fleet expansion. Admiral Angelo Iachino stood on the observation platform overlooking the sprawling Monfalcone facility, watching welders seal the pressure hull of Italy's newest Marcello-class submarine. The mathematics were impressive: 200 operational submarines by December 1940, each capable of carrying 14 torpedoes and operating submerged for 16 hours at maximum battery capacity. Italy's submarine force would outnumber Britain's Royal Navy underwater fleet by a margin of 3-1. The Italian submarine program represented 5 years of intensive development following Mussolini's decision to challenge British control of the Mediterranean. The Cantieri Riuniti dell'Adriatico in Monfalcone had become Europe's largest submarine production facility, employing 12,000 skilled workers operating in 3 shifts around the clock. Steel flowed from the Brescia foundries at 850 tons per month, specially formulated for pressure hull construction capable of withstanding depths exceeding 100 meters. Lieutenant Commander Marco Reveden had overseen the sea trials of 47 Italian submarines since 1937, establishing standardized performance metrics that would guide operational doctrine throughout the Mediterranean theater. His detailed reports documented diving times averaging 35 seconds to periscope depth, surface speeds reaching 17.4 knots, and submerged endurance of 8.5 hours at 4 knots cruising speed. These specifications placed Italian submarines among the most capable underwater vessels in the world. The Adriatic testing grounds had witnessed unprecedented submarine trials as Italian naval engineers perfected hull designs optimized for Mediterranean operations. Shorter patrol distances meant reduced fuel requirements, allowing designers to maximize torpedo loads and crew accommodations. The Marcello-class boats displaced 1,043 tons surfaced, powered by twin diesel engines producing 3,000 horsepower combined. Submerged operations relied on electric motors, drawing power from 216 battery cells arranged in 2 massive compartments beneath the crew quarters. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, like this video. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Captain Vittorio Mocagata commanded the 1st Submarine Squadron based at La Spezia, where 32 operational boats maintained constant readiness for Mediterranean patrol assignments. His experienced crews had trained extensively in night surface attacks, coordinated wolfpack tactics, and precision torpedo firing solutions. Italian submarine commanders averaged 840 hours of combat training, including live-fire exercises conducted in the waters between Corsica and Sardinia. The strategic implications were staggering. Admiral Domenico Cavanieri, Chief of Naval Staff, had calculated that 200 submarines operating simultaneously could establish a complete blockade of Allied shipping lanes from Gibraltar to Alexandria. Each submarine could patrol independently for 45 days, creating overlapping coverage zones that would force enemy convoys into increasingly dangerous routing patterns or abandon Mediterranean transit entirely. But 4,000 miles across the Atlantic, American industrial capacity was awakening to unprecedented challenge. President Franklin Roosevelt's Naval Expansion Act had authorized construction of 288 fleet submarines, representing a fourfold increase in America's underwater capabilities. The Electric Boat Company in Groton, Connecticut, had received contracts for 132 boats, while Portsmouth Naval Shipyard in New Hampshire would produce 156 additional submarines using revolutionary assembly line techniques borrowed from automobile manufacturing. September 27, 1940, Electric Boat Company, Groton, Connecticut. John Philip Holland, Jr., grandson of the submarine pioneer, reviewed production schedules that seemed impossible by traditional shipbuilding standards. American designers had abandoned the incremental approach favored by European navies in favor of mass production principles that prioritized speed, standardization, and simplified manufacturing processes. The Gato-class submarine represented American engineering at its most pragmatic. Displacing 1,525 tons surfaced, each boat stretched 311 feet in length with a beam of 27 feet. 4 diesel engines generating 5,400 horsepower combined provided surface speeds exceeding 20 knots, while twin electric motors offered submerged performance comparable to the best European designs. But the real revolution lay in standardized components and modular construction techniques that reduced assembly time from 18 months to 10 months per boat. Master shipbuilder Thomas McKee had developed production protocols that treated submarine assembly like aircraft production. Prefabricated hull sections were manufactured simultaneously in separate facilities, then transported to final assembly bays where specialized crews completed integration in predetermined sequences. Welding teams worked continuously, with each shift passing partially completed boats to the next crew without interruption. This industrial choreography enabled Electric Boat to maintain 4 submarines in various construction phases simultaneously. The American submarine program differed fundamentally from Italian approaches in scale, standardization, and strategic purpose. Where Italian designers optimized boats for Mediterranean operations, American planners anticipated Pacific theater requirements covering distances exceeding 10,000 nautical miles. Fuel capacity, crew accommodations, and equipment reliability received priority over maximum speed or diving performance. American submarines were designed to operate independently for 75 days, nearly double Italian endurance specifications.
The first American challenge came not from enemy action, but from production bottlenecks that threatened to derail the entire expansion program. Steel shortages forced Electric Boat to establish new supply contracts with foundries in Pennsylvania and Ohio, while specialized submarine components required entirely new manufacturing capabilities. Periscopes, torpedo tubes, and battery systems demanded precision engineering that few American companies had ever attempted. October 12, 1940. Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, New Hampshire. Captain Samuel Robinson supervised the keel-laying ceremony for USS Drum, the first submarine constructed using revolutionary modular assembly techniques. Traditional shipbuilding required completing each boat sequentially, with skilled workers moving from project to project as construction phases were completed. The American approach assigned specialized teams to specific assembly tasks, creating parallel production lines that could maintain steady output regardless of individual project delays. The mathematics of mass production were becoming clear to both American and Italian naval planners. Italy's 200 submarines represented the culmination of traditional European construction methods, requiring approximately 240,000 man-hours per boat across an average construction period of 16 months. American techniques reduced construction time to 10 months, while requiring only 180,000 man-hours per boat, a 25% improvement in efficiency that would prove decisive as the war progressed. but efficiency alone could not overcome fundamental design differences that would determine combat effectiveness. Italian submarines excelled in Mediterranean conditions, where shorter patrol distances and predictable weather patterns favored boats optimized for speed and maneuverability. American submarines were engineered for Pacific operations, where vast distances and extended patrols demanded reliability and endurance over maximum performance. The first operational comparison came in November 1940, when the Italian submarine Capellini completed a 52-day patrol covering 4,200 nautical miles between La Spezia and the Atlantic coast of Morocco. The boat returned to port with mechanical problems requiring 18 days of repairs, primarily related to engine cooling systems and battery deterioration. American submarines completing similar patrols in the Pacific consistently achieved 75-day endurance with minimal maintenance requirements upon return. Captain Gianfranco Gazzana Prioroggia commanded Italy's most successful submarine, Barbarigo, which had sunk 17,016 tons of Allied shipping during 3 Mediterranean patrols. His experience revealed both the strengths and limitations of Italian submarine design. Superior underwater agility allowed Italian boats to evade enemy destroyers through radical maneuvering, but limited torpedo capacity forced commanders to select targets carefully rather than engaging multiple ships during single encounters. The strategic implications were becoming apparent to military analysts on both sides of the Atlantic. Italy's numerical superiority in submarines could establish temporary control over Mediterranean shipping lanes, but American industrial capacity threatened to overwhelm Axis underwater forces through sheer production volume. The question was whether Italian submarines could achieve decisive results before American construction programs reached full capacity. December 7, 1940, Regia Marina Headquarters, Rome. Admiral Cavagnari received intelligence reports confirming American submarine construction had accelerated beyond initial projections. Electric Boat Company was completing 1 submarine every 35 days, while Portsmouth Naval Shipyard maintained similar production rates. If sustained, American yards would deliver 144 new submarines by December 1942, fundamentally altering the underwater balance of power. Italian intelligence analysts had initially dismissed American submarine construction as typical peacetime procurement, assuming that wartime priorities would force reallocation of resources to aircraft and surface vessel production. The reality proved dramatically different. American shipyards were simultaneously expanding submarine construction while maintaining production schedules for destroyers, cruisers, and aircraft carriers. Industrial capacity that Italian planners had considered impossible was becoming operational reality. The first direct confrontation between Italian and American submarine technologies occurred on January 15, 1941, when USS Sargo encountered the Italian submarine Enrico Totti while operating submerged off the coast of Algeria. Both boats detected each other simultaneously at a range of 2,800 yards, initiating a complex underwater duel that would test the tactical effectiveness of competing design philosophies. Enrico Totti, commanded by Captain Antonio Di Giacomo, possessed superior underwater maneuverability and diving speed, reaching periscope depth in 28 seconds compared to Sargo's 45-second dive time. Italian training emphasized rapid course changes and depth variations to confuse enemy sonar tracking, tactics that had proven successful against British destroyers in previous encounters. But American submarine construction included advanced sonar equipment that maintained target tracking through evasive maneuvers. USS Sargo, under the command of Lieutenant Commander Tyrrell Jacobs, carried 24 Mark 14 torpedoes compared to the Italian boat's 12 weapons. American tactical doctrine emphasized sustained engagement rather than single devastating attacks, allowing submarine commanders to maintain pressure on targets through multiple torpedo salvos. The extended ammunition capacity provided strategic flexibility that Italian commanders could not match. The underwater engagement lasted 4 hours and 17 minutes, during which both submarines fired multiple torpedo spreads without achieving decisive hits. Enrico Totti's superior agility allowed the Italian boat to evade 3 American torpedo attacks through radical course changes, but limited ammunition forced Captain Di Giacomo to disengage before achieving a killing shot. USS Sargo maintained contact throughout the encounter, demonstrating sonar capabilities that surprised Italian naval intelligence. Post-engagement analysis revealed fundamental differences in submarine warfare philosophy that would influence construction priorities for both nations. Italian submarines prioritized speed and maneuverability to achieve quick strikes before withdrawing to safe areas. American submarines emphasized endurance and overwhelming firepower to maintain sustained pressure on enemy forces. Neither approach was inherently superior, but each required different industrial capabilities and resource allocation strategies. February 8, 1941. Electric Boat Company, Groton, Connecticut. Chief Naval Architect Andrew McKee reviewed performance reports from USS Sargo's first combat patrol, identifying design modifications that would improve American submarine effectiveness in future encounters. Diving speed remained inferior to Italian boats, but American submarines demonstrated superior underwater endurance and target tracking capabilities that compensated for reduced agility. The American submarine program was evolving based on combat experience rather than theoretical specifications. Reports from the Pacific Theater operations indicated that extended patrol range and reliable mechanical systems were more valuable than maximum diving speed or underwater maneuverability. American submarines regularly operated 8,000 nautical miles from home ports, distances that would exhaust European boats before reaching target areas.
Production statistics revealed the growing disparity between American and Italian submarine capabilities. Electric Boat Company had delivered 12 completed submarines by February 1941, with 28 additional boats in various construction phases. Portsmouth Naval Shipyard contributed 8 completed submarines, maintaining production schedules that would deliver 4 boats per month by summer 1941. Combined American submarine construction was approaching parity with Italy's total operational fleet. But numbers alone did not determine underwater warfare effectiveness. Italian submarine commanders had accumulated combat experience through aggressive Mediterranean operations, sinking 72 Allied merchant vessels totaling 284,000 tons during the first 6 months of 1941. Captain Salvatore Pelosi, commanding Leonardo da Vinci, had perfected night surface attack techniques that enabled Italian submarines to achieve exceptional success rates against convoy targets. The Italian submarine arm reached peak effectiveness in March 1941, when coordinated attacks by 18 boats operating between Gibraltar and Malta sank 31 merchant vessels in a single week. Admiral Karl Donitz, commanding German U-boat operations, acknowledged Italian tactical innovations that German submarine crews had adopted for Atlantic operations. Italian night attack procedures, developed for Mediterranean conditions, proved equally effective against British convoys in the Bay of Biscay. March 23, 1941. La Spezia Naval Base, Italy. Captain Primo Longobardo supervised final preparations for Operation Pharaoh, the largest coordinated submarine offensive in naval history. 47 Italian submarines would establish patrol lines covering every major shipping route between Gibraltar and Alexandria, creating an underwater blockade designed to strangle Allied supply operations in the Mediterranean theater. The operational scale exceeded anything previously attempted by any navy. Italian submarines would maintain station for periods exceeding 30 days, requiring careful coordination of fuel supplies, ammunition distribution, and crew rotation schedules. Shore-based commands had established communication protocols enabling real-time tactical coordination between submarine commanders operating across thousands of square miles of ocean. Italian naval intelligence had identified 23 regular convoy routes used by Allied merchant shipping, plotting course and timing patterns that would enable submarine commanders to position their boats for optimal attack approaches. Weather predictions, moon phases, and tidal calculations were integrated into detailed tactical plans that assigned specific target areas to each participating submarine.
But American industrial capacity was preparing an overwhelming response to Italian numerical superiority. By April 1941, Electric Boat Company was maintaining 8 submarines in simultaneous construction, while Portsmouth Naval Shipyard had expanded production facilities to accommodate 12 boats under assembly at any given time. Combined American submarine construction had reached 6 boats per month, with projections indicating 10 boats per month by year's end. The industrial mathematics were becoming inexorable. Italy's 200 submarines represented the maximum production capability of European shipyards operating at wartime capacity. American construction programs were designed to produce 288 submarines using industrial techniques that could be expanded further if strategic requirements demanded additional boats. The question was no longer whether American submarine numbers would exceed Italian capabilities, but how quickly American industrial capacity could overwhelm Axis underwater forces through sheer production volume. April 15, 1941. USS Wahoo completed her maiden voyage from Electric Boat Company to Pearl Harbor Naval Base, establishing new performance benchmarks that demonstrated American submarine capabilities. The 2,400 nautical mile transit required 18 days, including fuel stops at San Diego, and technical inspections that confirmed mechanical systems remained fully operational throughout extended high-speed running. Lieutenant Commander Dudley Morton, commanding USS Wahoo, submitted performance reports that exceeded design specifications in every category except diving speed. Surface speed averaged 20.8 knots across varied sea conditions, while submerged endurance reached 76 hours at 4-knot cruising speed. Most significantly, mechanical systems required no repairs or adjustments during the extended transit, demonstrating reliability levels that Italian submarines could not match. The strategic implications were becoming clear to naval planners throughout the world. American submarines combined extended range, exceptional reliability, and overwhelming firepower in designs that could operate effectively across the vast Pacific theater. Italian submarines excelled in Mediterranean conditions, but lacked the endurance and reliability necessary for sustained operations in other theaters. Industrial capacity would ultimately determine which approach proved more effective as the war expanded beyond European waters. By May 1941, the underwater arms race between Italy and America had evolved into a contest between traditional craftsmanship and mass production efficiency. Italian shipyards continued producing submarines using established techniques that emphasized individual boat optimization and specialized construction methods. American yards had revolutionized submarine production through standardization, modular assembly, and industrial processes that treated each boat as a component in a larger strategic system. The first phase of the great submarine construction race was approaching its climax. Italy had achieved its goal of fielding 200 operational submarines, creating the largest underwater fleet in naval history. But across the Atlantic, American shipyards were preparing to demonstrate that industrial capacity, properly organized and adequately supplied, could overwhelm even the most sophisticated traditional construction methods. The stage was set for the most decisive submarine campaign in naval history, where Italian tactical expertise would face American industrial overwhelming force in a contest that would determine the future of underwater warfare. The turning point came on June 22, 1941, when Germany invaded the Soviet Union, fundamentally altering the strategic equation in the Mediterranean. Admiral Cavagnari received urgent orders from Rome. Italian submarines must abandon their coordinated patrol lines to support German operations in the eastern Mediterranean, fragmenting the underwater blockade just as it was achieving maximum effectiveness. Captain Alessandro Mori, commanding the submarine Sierra, had spent 6 months perfecting coordinated attack formations with 12 other Italian submarines operating between Crete and Cyprus. The tactical innovation allowed Italian submarines to concentrate firepower against heavily escorted convoys while maintaining mutual support against Allied destroyer escorts. Abandoning these proven tactics to support German requirements represented a strategic miscalculation that would prove irreversible.
The redeployment orders divided Italy's submarine force across 4 separate operational theaters: 30 boats assigned to support German forces in the eastern Mediterranean, 45 boats maintaining traditional patrol stations in the central Mediterranean, 60 submarines operating in the western Mediterranean between Gibraltar and Sardinia, and 40 boats held in reserve for rapid deployment. This dispersal eliminated the concentration of force that had made Italian submarines devastatingly effective during early 1941 operations. Meanwhile, American submarine construction had achieved unprecedented momentum. Electric Boat Company delivered USS Flying Fish on June 30, 1941, the 15th submarine completed in 6 months. Portsmouth Naval Shipyard maintained parallel production schedules, completing USS Finback 3 days later. Combined American output had reached 8 submarines per month, with production projections indicating 12 boats per month by December 1941. The industrial transformation was reshaping American naval capabilities faster than any military planner had anticipated. Mare Island Naval Shipyard in California had joined the submarine construction program, adding 4 additional assembly lines using modular techniques perfected at Electric Boat. The Pacific Coast facility specialized in Tamber-class boats optimized for extended Pacific operations, featuring increased fuel capacity and enhanced crew accommodations for 90-day patrols. July 18, 1941. Mare Island Naval Shipyard, Vallejo, California. Master shipwright Robert Chen supervised the launching of USS Tamber, the first submarine constructed on the Pacific coast using mass production techniques adapted from automobile manufacturing. The 307-foot boat had required only 8 months from keel laying to completion, establishing new benchmarks for construction efficiency that European shipyards could not match. American submarine design philosophy had evolved based on Pacific theater requirements that differed fundamentally from Mediterranean operations. Where Italian boats optimized for 45-day patrols covering distances under 3,000 nautical miles, American submarines were engineered for 75-day missions spanning 8,000 nautical miles. This strategic difference drove design decisions that prioritized reliability and endurance over maximum speed and diving performance. The first comprehensive comparison of Italian and American submarine capabilities came in August 1941, when the Royal Navy's Submarine Tracking Room analyzed data from 18 months of Mediterranean operations. Italian submarines had achieved remarkable success rates: 127 merchant vessels totaling 498,000 tons sunk, with average patrol effectiveness of 3.9 tons per submarine per day at sea. These statistics exceeded German U-boat performance in the Atlantic theater by a substantial margin. But operational sustainability told a different story. Italian submarines averaged 23 days of mechanical repairs per 45-day patrol cycle, primarily due to engine cooling problems and battery deterioration in Mediterranean heat. American submarines operating in similar conditions maintained 89% mechanical availability, requiring an average of 4.2 days of maintenance per 75-day patrol. The disparity in reliability would prove decisive as the war expanded and maintenance facilities became increasingly strained. Captain Junio Valerio Borghese, Italy's most successful submarine commander, had achieved legendary status through aggressive tactics aboard Shire that resulted in 90,000 tons of Allied shipping destroyed during 7 patrols. His innovative use of human torpedoes launched from submarine platforms had revolutionized special operations warfare, inspiring similar programs in Germany and Japan. But even Borghese recognized that Italian submarines faced growing technological disadvantages as Allied anti-submarine capabilities improved. September 14, 1941. British Mediterranean Fleet Headquarters, Alexandria, Egypt. Admiral Andrew Cunningham reviewed intelligence reports indicating dramatic changes in Italian submarine operations. The coordination and tactical sophistication that had made Italian boats so dangerous during early 1941 was fragmenting under pressure from German operational requirements and increasing Allied anti-submarine effectiveness. Allied destroyer escorts had achieved significant improvements in submarine detection through enhanced sonar equipment and refined attack procedures. HMS Jervis had sunk 3 Italian submarines during August 1941 using new Hedgehog anti-submarine mortars that achieved hit rates exceeding traditional depth charges by 400%. The technological evolution was shifting underwater warfare advantages towards surface forces equipped with advanced detection systems. American submarine commanders were learning different lessons from Pacific operations against Japanese forces. Lieutenant Commander Richard O'Kane, commanding USS Tang, had developed attack procedures that emphasized multiple torpedo spreads fired from extended range, maximizing the probability of hits while maintaining safe separation from target vessels. American submarines carried sufficient ammunition to sustain these tactics throughout extended patrols, unlike Italian boats limited to 12 torpedoes per mission. The strategic mathematics were becoming inexorable by October 1941. American submarine construction had delivered 47 operational boats with 73 additional submarines in various completion stages across 6 major shipyards. Italian submarine strength remained fixed at 200 boats, but combat losses had begun reducing operational availability. 3 submarines lost in August, 5 in September, and 4 during the first 2 weeks of October represented an unsustainable attrition rate. October 31, 1941. USS Wahoo departed Pearl Harbor for her first war patrol under the command of Lieutenant Commander Dudley Morton, carrying 24 Mark 14 torpedoes and provisions for 75 days independent operations. The mission parameters exemplified American submarine strategy: patrol the East China Sea for 60 days, engage any enemy shipping encountered, and return with detailed intelligence on Japanese naval movements. The patrol demonstrated American submarine capabilities that Italian boats could not match. USS Wahoo covered 11,400 nautical miles during 63 days at sea, sinking 4 Japanese merchant vessels totaling 18,000 tons while conducting reconnaissance operations near enemy naval bases. The submarine returned to Pearl Harbor with minimal mechanical problems and crew fatigue levels that permitted immediate preparation for subsequent patrols. Italian submarines operating comparable distances would have required 2 refueling stops and extensive mechanical repairs before completing similar missions. The difference reflected fundamental design philosophy. American submarines were engineered as strategic weapons systems capable of independent operations across vast ocean areas, while Italian boats remained optimized for tactical operations within relatively limited geographical regions. December 7, 1941. The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor transformed the submarine war from regional conflict to global maritime struggle. American submarine construction received unlimited priority as the United States entered full wartime production. Electric Boat Company received authorization to expand construction capacity to 15 submarines simultaneously under assembly, while Portsmouth Naval Shipyard prepared to double existing production facilities.
The industrial mobilization exceeded all previous military production efforts in scale and speed. American shipyards that had never built submarines received construction contracts and technical assistance from established facilities. The Charleston Naval Shipyard in South Carolina, Manitowoc Shipbuilding in Wisconsin, and Cramp Shipbuilding in Philadelphia joined the submarine construction program, creating a national industrial network capable of producing submarines faster than any enemy force could sink them. Italian submarine operations faced increasing challenges as American entry into the war brought advanced anti-submarine technologies to the Mediterranean theater. American destroyer escorts, equipped with superior radar and sonar systems, began escorting British convoys, achieving submarine detection rates that Italian commanders found difficult to evade. The technological advantages that had favored submarines during early war operations were shifting toward surface forces. Captain Gianfranco Gazzana Priaroggia completed his final patrol aboard Barbarigo in January 1942, having achieved the highest success rate of any Italian submarine commander, 89,000 tons of Allied shipping destroyed during 11 patrols. His tactical innovations and aggressive leadership had established Italian submarines as formidable opponents, but increasing Allied anti-submarine effectiveness made such achievements increasingly difficult to sustain. The human cost of submarine warfare was becoming apparent to both Italian and American naval commands.
Italian submarine crews faced mortality rates exceeding 40% during 1942 operations, as Allied anti-submarine capabilities improved faster than Italian tactical countermeasures could be developed. Experienced submarine commanders represented irreplaceable assets that required months of training and years of operational experience to develop fully. February 15, 1942. Electric Boat Company achieved unprecedented production milestone with the simultaneous launching of 4 submarines: USS Harder, USS Hake, USS Haddo, and USS Halibut. The ceremony demonstrated American industrial capacity operating at maximum efficiency, with construction techniques that had reduced assembly time to 6.5 months per boat while maintaining quality standards that exceeded pre-war specifications. American submarine production statistics revealed the scale of industrial mobilization. 89 submarines completed by February 1942, with 124 additional boats under construction across 9 major facilities. Production rates had reached 14 submarines per month, with projections indicating 18 boats per month by summer 1942. The mathematical progression guaranteed American submarine numbers would exceed Italian capabilities within 12 months. But numbers alone could not determine combat effectiveness. Italian submarine commanders had accumulated tactical expertise through 2 years of intensive Mediterranean operations, developing night attack procedures and evasion techniques that remained superior to American methods. Captain Antonio de Giacomo, aboard Enrico Totti, had perfected approaches that enabled Italian submarines to achieve torpedo hits from ranges exceeding 4,000 yards, accuracy levels that American submarines could not match. The technological gap was closing rapidly as American submarines incorporated combat experience from Pacific operations. Advanced fire control computers enabled American submarines to calculate complex firing solutions automatically, reducing target acquisition time and improving hit probability. Radar systems provided surface detection capabilities that Italian submarines lacked, creating tactical advantages during night surface operations. March 20, 1942. USS Growler departed Mara Island for Pacific combat patrol, carrying experimental equipment that would revolutionize submarine warfare. Advanced sonar systems provided underwater detection ranges exceeding 8,000 yards, while improved battery systems offered submerged endurance approaching 24 hours at cruising speed. The technological improvements represented cumulative advances that Italian submarines could not match with existing industrial capabilities. Italian submarine construction had reached technological and industrial limits that prevented further expansion. The Monfalcone shipyard was producing submarines at maximum capacity, but construction time had increased to 14 months per boat as material shortages and skilled labor limitations created production bottlenecks. Quality control problems were emerging as Italian manufacturers struggled to maintain standards while accelerating construction schedules. The strategic implications were becoming undeniable by April 1942. American submarine production had achieved numerical parity with Italian operational strength, but American boats demonstrated superior reliability, endurance, and technological capabilities that multiplied their combat effectiveness. Italian submarines remained dangerous opponents in Mediterranean operations, but their strategic impact was declining as Allied and British anti-submarine capabilities improved. Admiral Ernest King, Chief of Naval Operations, reviewed submarine production statistics that confirmed American industrial dominance in underwater warfare. 127 submarines completed by April 1942, with construction rates approaching 20 boats per month across 12 major shipyards. The production momentum could be sustained indefinitely using American industrial capacity, while Axis submarine construction remained limited by material shortages and facility constraints. May 8, 1942. The Battle of the Coral Sea demonstrated American submarine capabilities in fleet operations, as USS Silversides provided reconnaissance intelligence that enabled American carrier forces to locate and engage the Japanese fleet. Italian submarines had never achieved comparable integration with surface forces, reflecting design limitations that optimized boats for independent operations rather than coordinated fleet actions. Italian submarine losses accelerated during summer 1942
as Allied submarine forces achieved technological superiority in detection and attack capabilities. 17 Italian boats were lost during June and July, including several commanded by veteran officers whose tactical expertise could not be replaced. The attrition rate exceeded construction replacement capacity by a margin that made Italian submarine strength unsustainable. Captain Primo Longobardo conducted Italy's final major submarine operation in August 1942, coordinating attacks by 23 boats against Allied convoys supplying Malta. The effort achieved limited tactical success, sinking 7 merchant vessels, but cost 5 Italian submarines, including 2 commanded by veteran officers. The unfavorable exchange ratio demonstrated that Italian submarines could no longer achieve strategic objectives against improving Allied defenses. American submarine construction achieved the remarkable milestone of 200 completed boats on September 12, 1942, matching Italian submarine strength while maintaining production rates that would deliver an additional 88 boats by year's end. The industrial achievement represented unprecedented manufacturing capability applied to complex military systems, demonstrating American capacity to overwhelm enemy forces through superior production volume. The technological revolution was transforming submarine warfare faster than tactical doctrine could adapt. American submarines incorporated radar systems, advanced sonar equipment, improved fire control computers, and enhanced battery systems that provided cumulative advantages over Italian submarines designed using 1930s technology. The gap was widening as American industrial capacity funded continuous technological improvements, while Italian manufacturers struggled with material shortages.
October 15, 1942, USS Barb completed the most successful American submarine patrol to date, sinking 12 Japanese vessels, totaling 96,000 tons during a single 60-day mission. The achievement exceeded the career totals of most Italian submarine commanders, demonstrating American tactical capabilities that matched or exceeded Italian expertise while operating submarines with superior technological capabilities. Italian submarine operations were increasingly constrained by fuel shortages, ammunition limitations, and maintenance problems that reduced operational availability below sustainable levels. Many experienced crews were reassigned to surface vessels, as Italian Naval Command recognized that submarine warfare had evolved beyond their technological and industrial capabilities. The decision represented acknowledgement that American industrial capacity had fundamentally altered underwater warfare. November 30, 1942, Electric Boat Company delivered USS Archerfish, the 250th American submarine constructed since production expansion began. The milestone represented industrial achievement that Italian shipyards could not approach, even operating at maximum capacity with unlimited resources. American submarine construction had achieved self-sustaining momentum that could continue indefinitely while maintaining technological improvements. The final statistics revealed the magnitude of American industrial dominance. 288 fleet submarines completed by December 1943, compared to Italy's maximum strength of 200 boats achieved in late 1940. But operational availability told the complete story. American submarines maintained 85% readiness rates, while Italian boats averaged 60% availability due to maintenance requirements and material shortages. Italian submarine crews had fought with exceptional courage and tactical skill, achieving remarkable success during early war operations when technological advantages remained relatively balanced. Captain Salvatore Pelosi aboard Leonardo da Vinci sank 120,000 tons of Allied shipping, while Captain Gianfranco Gazzana Priaroja destroyed 89,000 tons during 11 patrols aboard Barbarigo. Their achievements represented individual excellence operating under increasingly impossible strategic conditions. The transformation was complete by 1943. American submarines dominated underwater warfare through superior numbers, advanced technology, and industrial capacity that could sustain operations indefinitely. Italian submarines, despite tactical innovations and individual heroism, could not overcome fundamental disadvantages in production capability and technological development that determined strategic outcomes. The legacy extended beyond immediate military results.
American submarine construction demonstrated industrial capacity that could be applied to any manufacturing challenge, establishing precedents for post-war economic dominance. The techniques developed for mass submarine production influenced automobile manufacturing, aircraft construction, and consumer goods production throughout the following decades. Italian submarine commanders earned recognition from both sides for tactical innovations that influenced underwater warfare development. Night surface attack procedures, coordinated patrol formations, and special operations techniques pioneered by Italian crews were adopted by other navies and continued influencing submarine tactics throughout the Cold War period. The mathematical equation had proven decisive. Italy's 200 submarines represented the maximum achievement possible using traditional construction methods and limited industrial capacity. America's 288 fleet boats demonstrated that superior industrial organization, adequate resources, and technological innovation could overcome any numerical advantage achieved through conventional means. The lesson would influence military planning and industrial policy for generations. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.